And thank you for watching KTN News. Welcome back to Planet Action as we continue to having discussions around the climate and what it is we need to do, the initiatives we need to put in place. Now, residents and leaders in Marsabit County have called on the government and development partners to intervene and provide humanitarian aid to families affected by famine in the region. Now, the expansive county, which has majority of the residents as herders, has endured a devastating drought for the last 5 years, resulting in the loss of nearly all their livestock. Now, the erratic rains as well witnessed in the county have left the locals heavily reliant on relief food. The most vulnerable groups bearing the brunt of the drought are children, the elderly and pregnant mothers.
Na watu wanakaa hata siku mbili bila kupata chakula, hata siku tatu. Hata kuna watu wawili wamekufa na njaa, lakini tunamshukuru seneta ametuletea chakula na wananchi wamefurahia.
Tukapelekea seneta shida ya watu yetu ya nyumbani, tukamwambia tunaumia sana kwa njaa, tuko na shida. Na amekimbia, amepata marafiki, ndio sasa mnaona tunafurahia, tumepata chakula.
Najua sifla mali yao imeisha na Jalali bado amemaliza wanyama na watu nakaa sasa na njaa, hakuna mali kwa sababu mali imeisha.
In fact, let me today take this opportunity to thank our donors. If you see our donors coming here to distribute food themselves, that is what you know that they are serious on what they are doing.
And very well, those are just live pictures on the situation on ground. But now I want us to get into the conversation with regard to restoring our ecosystems. This is a conversation I'm having with Abubakar Omanyo, Executive Director, Back to Spaces. Now, welcome on the show as we have this conversation. Now, with the ongoing situation in the country, Abubakar, things are looking down. We see we've destroyed our ecosystems, our biodiversities. Look at the floods, the way they are raging and destroying people's homes and systems out there. I mean, what is your comment, first of all, on what is happening in the country?
First of all, I want to send my sincere condolence to the families who have lost their loved ones after the aftermath of the flood that have ravaged our country. And it is not just in our country, it is in East Africa, Tanzania and even Burundi. So my condolence to the family. Yes.
And how important is it now for us to look at what is happening, because the waters, the floods that we're experiencing is being tied closely, scientists are saying, is because of climate change that is happening around the world. Now, how important is it for us to finally put our feet down and say, these are the changes we are doing to be able to reverse the bad things, the messes that you've done to the environment?
I can tell you the cause of this climate change menace is caused by human doing or undoing, because we have a problem in how we plan our urban planning and non-adhering to those codes of planning the city, and we have this issue of soil degradation and even deforestation. Yeah, that's where we have the problem, and even the waste management. That's where we have a problem.
And I was speaking to someone over the weekend on what is happening in the country, and specifically Nairobi. You remember the tree that fell off Moi Avenue?
Yes.
And these gentlemen were saying even on social media that this is because we have destroyed the green spaces. Water is now stagnant, does not have anywhere to go. That we need to change and improve on our green spaces that do exist in the system. And this is where you come in.
Yes.
Back to society.
Yes.
Now, when we talk about back to societies, we need to restore that which you've destroyed. I mean,
Yes.
Nairobi River for a very long time has been worked on trying to restore it to what it was. So why are you in this space? Why is it important for us to restore?
It is very important, because if you don't restore what we have lost, what nature has lost, we are going to pay it dearly the way we are paying it today. And I've realized that through engagements of the community around those flooded areas, I find out that some of the mitigation that the government has put in place are not working, because There is a difference between adaptation and mitigation. Mitigation, you are trying to reduce a problem which has already been caused. Let's say now the drainage, the people who encroached the riparian lands are making these rainwaters not to pass as it's supposed to be. And then that's what the government is doing, the mitigation. But the mitigation is just as a little solution. But when it comes to adaptation, this means that you want to prevent such thing from happening. And that's why we are now telling people at least to be planting trees or bamboos along the riverbanks. And again, you know, as for today, the river, you know, people just say River Nairobi, but River Nairobi is 40 kilometers long. It is from Ontiri Farm, Ontiri Swamp in Kikuyu. It flows to Naivasha Road to Kangemi. Then it comes to Globe Cinema. It meets Madare River along the way to Njiru, and then it meets Ruai. The same Nairobi, Ngong River. Ngong River is from, it passes from Kibra, Jamhuri, Kibra, Nairobi Dam, to industrial area, South Sea, to Tasia, around the pipeline, and then to Soweto. Then it also joins the other river, Nairobi River and Madare River, to the Swampy or around Ruai Dam, and then it flows its water to Athi River, then to Galana. So you find that the waters which are killing people in the areas of Machakos or Ukambani is not even from Nairobi. It's not even from the Machakos. It is from the other side of the river that are going. So mitigation that we are supposed to put is to make sure that we plant trees that can hold this water to reduce the speed of these waters from flowing around. Because when you look at the photos, the aerial photos, you find that where the water has logged is it is flat space. So if we had trees planted around that area, we would have saved something.
And Abubakar, now here is where we are. Those aerial images that you talk about, the need of us to plant trees along the riverbeds to be able to hold these water, brings the conversation that people have grown, have grabbed riparian lands. You know, people not being washed away have built their houses next to the river. Pretty much when the river bursts its banks, it has nowhere else to go but to people's homes. Yes. Which brings then the conversation on urban planning and the need to adhere to the codes. Therefore, as we move forward and the lessons that we've learned right now, what should the government do to make sure that these spaces that must be taken care of, these trees that we need to grow on this riparian land get to grow? Those on this riparian land should be told to vacate with immediate effect, because it is a danger not only to them but to the entire population.
I think what we need to do and what the government need to do is to work with the civil societies like Back to Society, because these are the people who engage communities along that riparian land. Like, I'm against the government call. Government call to relocate people from the riparian land, because if they do that, this riparian land will be grabbed by the so-called rich people, because it only becomes a riparian land when the poor are involved. But when the rich are involved around that land, it is called a private land. That's why you have a problem. Like now, like today, I was telling someone, instead of government has a big land, and government land is public land and is people's land. Let's say the land which meteorological department sits. The meteorological department does not need that big land, just to hold a rain gauge. You don't need a big land to hold a rain gauge. So these people who will be removed from this land should be given an alternative land, like those, the meteorological, and the one that has been repossessed from the grabbing, according to the EACC. So you cannot say that I'm going to chase people from this place. In fact, the riparian law, it says that you need to be 30 meters away from the water catchment area. Then there are those people who are now 50 meters away, and they are also being carried away by these waters. What do? We need proper planning, people engagement, and a human engagement to make sure that no one is going to lose his place and that he doesn't have somewhere to go.
And as we have this discussion now in terms of riparian land, grabbed land, private land, and all that, I mean, there is the law. There is the urban planning codes. Yes. And with all these, there is need to make sure that we prevent pretty much. Because one thing we've done as a country is react. We've always reacted to disasters and not tried to prevent.
Yes.
Therefore, moving forward, what should be the initiatives the government is putting in place to make sure that we are not again found flat-footed?
I think this is nature. What the government can do is just to reduce, but because you cannot fight nature and win. The mitigation that are put in place, if they are used well, we are going at least to save something. Like the river that passes along Kibra, it is River Ngong, and down there, the flooding happens in people's houses just because of one thing. Because I engage with people there, I've done cleaning there for like 2 years, and the only problem that is there is lack of maybe political goodwill, because you find that people have allowed the private developer to bring clay soil and even cotton soil and dumping across that river. So you find that the other side of the river is high, and where people are living is flat. So what I was asking, in fact, I had engaged the government of Nairobi, NEMA, Nairobi River Commission, which is the commission that now is in charge of these rivers in Nairobi under the office of the deputy president. But I've done that, I've followed that, they have not done anything. People still have the same problem, and it will not even cost much, because they just need to at least go deeper, just to get an excavator to increase the volume of the river, and then the other side should be that one. It is a good mitigation, because it is going to save a lot of people's lives there.
And Abubakar, then how do we take this conversation to everyone? Because as we have the discussion, there are those who are living by the rivers simply because they don't have anywhere to go. Like what happened in Madari, which is a sad situation, is because that's where they call home. You know, and even in this entire conversation on the need for urban planning, there is the need for having decent housing out there. I mean, how do we involve the communities around and discuss with them on, first of all, the dangers of living next to the rivers, and giving them alternative accommodation, alternative areas where they can go and reside? Do you think it's taking that direction, or is it a question of the government just up and leave because you're not supposed to be there?
You know, when it comes to urban planning, and especially when you are trying to relate this urban planning with our what do you call it, our informal settlements like Madara and Kibra, you know, you have to approach it in a political way, because this is where the politician gets votes to enter the parliaments and everywhere. In really saying, they might be saying that, okay, we need to move our people from this riparian land to another place. But in their heart, they know they cannot. I have engaged some of these people who live around. In fact, let me tell you the truth. You don't need to use force to chase people from that riparian land. When I met some of the people in Kibra, they told me, we have got no problem. We know this is the government land. We even putting the structures that we know when the government, they know, they are aware. It is not that they don't know. You get? But if they're given an alternative place to go and live, they leave the riparian land. But they even I've told you, some of them just live 50 meters away from riparian land. That it means it is only few. And I was trying to imagine, yesterday I heard the deputy president saying that people should move from riparian land. Even the governor of Nairobi, Governor Sakaja, said that. And then they are reasoning that anywhere that there is water is a riparian land. Then I asked that question. Express highways, which river flows to express highway, and you normally it is impassable when it rains. You get? So the problem within Nairobi CBD is something that can be done when it comes to drainage, but the rivers, that one I can tell you, you cannot blame the government, you cannot blame the governor. The water is just passing where it's supposed to pass. Yes.
And now, Abubakar, I want us to talk in terms of just restoring these places. I've seen you do community cleanups. I mean, I've seen you engage the communities out there. How important is it, therefore, for everyone involved in this space, in this climate change, the government, talk about the counties, our stakeholders like you, the civil society, non-governmental organizations, to involve the communities in these initiatives of cleaning up, of planting trees, making sure these trees get to grow, taking care of the environment, taking care of these rivers, and making sure that these bamboos you're talking about, they get to plant them, and also making sure that they grow?
Lack of resources hinders the whole thing, because us as a backed society, we depend on well-wishers to contribute towards that cause. But the government has money, the county government has money, but even getting that money to support us, because we as civil society, we are easier going with the community. But the government will send maybe local authority, which does not resonate well. Because I was in Kibra, and I'm telling you this is an experience. Because people tell me what they want. They tell me, we don't want to hear from chief, because chief is the one who is hindering this from going. You get? Local elders there is the one who is allowing this private developer from maybe Rongai to come and dump that soil in the river, and is endangering the lives of people. So what we need to do is to do a lot of advocacy, and government should also work with civil society like us. They give us something, we go to the ground, and we work well. Because if you involve politicians, there will be a lot of fighting within that area. But when I go there, people will always tell you what they want, what is the problem, because no, the government want to go there with chest thumping. But the people who live around there, they'll tell you, this was like this in 2022, and it has just only happened because of this person that has not listening. And since we don't have a voice, we cannot take him anywhere. That's where the problem is. Because we plant bamboos there, you find that someone has come and uprooted it. And it could have helped the people who live around there. So that should be a wake-up call that the county government need to work with people like us, and we don't fight them. Even the national government should work with people like us. For us to be able to reach those locals. The locals are happy with us, and they are free with us, because we are the voice of the voiceless when it comes to, yes.
Abubakar Omanyo, Executive Director, Back to Society, says that when we have these discussions on climate change, on what people need to do, how we need to restore our ecosystems, take care of environments, there is need for consensus, for everyone to sit at the table and listen to what each other has to say. Earlier, I had a conversation with Shana Riha Evans, also the voice of the children in this entire discourse. She says it is important for the children as well to be given a seat on the table and ensure that they are heard. She says Mombasa County, that is the Indian Ocean, continues to suffer due to poor plastic disposal, at something that is close to her heart, because that is where she grew up. She loves the fish, but it's no longer like it used to be. This, as Planet Action continues to urge you all to continue doing your bit. Be the environment ambassador. Take care of your environment. Take care of your neighbor. Be your brother and sisters. Keep up. My name is Dennis Aseto. This has been Planet Action. Eric Latif will be coming top of the hour with the primetime news, that is Newsline. And from me and the entire team that made it a success, asante sana, good night, and enjoy the rest of your viewing.